ship or chip? Just a quick reminder that in the UK, chips are these, and in the USA, chips are these. So what is the difference between ship and chip? Looking at the symbols, we see here ship, chip. You can see that chip actually has the same symbols that ship does, and then it has, in addition, the T symbol, the T symbol at the beginning. And that's really the key sound which makes all the difference when we want to distinguish ship from chip. So how do we make sure that we're going to say the correct sound, chip? If we look at the sh sound first, we can hear that it doesn't have a very strong start or finish. Sh. And so you could represent the sound like this. Quiet at the start, quiet at the end. Shh. Compared to ch. Since it's a different sound, we know it's not going to look exactly the same. You can imagine it looking a little bit more like this. Overall, the sound is shorter, and you can see that it starts and ends a little bit more suddenly than this one. Ch. Shh. Ch. In order to make the start of this sound a bit harsher and a bit more sudden, we're going to use a bit of the t sound, but we're only going to use about half of it. What do I mean by we're only going to use about half of it? Let's look at these three words which all end with the t sound. If we say these words slowly, carefully, and with no other words coming after them, we can allow air to escape at the end of the word, at the end of the T sound. For example, mat, it, great. However, if we add extra letters after the T, whether it's to create a new word or as part of a two-word phrase, the sound of the T will actually change. We are not going to say mat, ch. It changes. Great choice. Because as you can hear, allowing the air to escape after the T really slows down the speed at which you can speak, and it doesn't sound very fluent. So we're not going to do that, and instead we're going to squash the T and the sounds that come after it all together. And right here we're going to have a little pause. So we're going to start the T, but we're not going to finish the T with that little puff of air. That's what I mean when I say that we're going to do about half of the T sound. Match. You can hear a little pause here. Match. It changes. Great choice. Sometimes the ch sound at the beginning of a word is more difficult to say. So here's an exercise that you could try to help you with this. Breathe out into a long sound, and at the end, put a t sound, except only do the first half of the t, and don't let the air come out at the end. It'll sound something like so we are going to stop the air at the end, but we're just not going to let any t sound come out. Then we're going to do the same thing, but we're going to allow the h sound to get shorter and shorter. Eventually, it'll sound like Again, we're not going to do the t at the end. We can then add the to the beginning of the word chip. We can make a gap here. Practice holding your tongue to the top of your mouth in the T position as if you're going to do t. But again, we're only going to start the sound. We're not going to finish the sound. Chip. Chip. In this area, I am kind of holding my breath with my tongue in that beginning T position. Eventually you can do it faster and faster. Chip, chip, chip. And then when you're ready, you can remove the H and just say chip. Let's practice some words with the sh and ch sounds. I'll leave you a gap so you can repeat. Ship, chip, shop, chop, shoes, choose, share, chair, sheep, cheap, wash, watch, wish, which, mash, match. That's all for ship or chip. I hope that was useful. See you next time.